Hello and welcome back to another video. As you guys know, my name is Dallin Anderson. Today, we're going to do just a really short video about thinking and planning. So, why you should start thinking and planning. So basically, thinking and planning is something that's going to unlock a lot of avenues in your life, a lot of doors that were otherwise locked. You're going to be able to open simply through the process of thinking and planning. So I actually have a notebook over here, right here. And in this notebook, it's almost halfway, it's actually a little over halfway filled up with ideas. And this has hundreds of ideas in it. And so every single week, I'll sit down with this notebook and I'll write at least 10 to 20 ideas down in here on the notebook of different ways that I can personally improve my life and different ways that I can do the things that I'm doing better. So just through the process of sitting down with a notebook, I'm able to think and strategize and plan. Mainly thinking, because a lot of the planning that I do happens on my computer with a Google document. But when it comes to the actual thinking of new ideas for my projects, then it's just a simple pen and pad notebook. And I just sit down and I start thinking. And I'll write 10, 20 ideas down, and I don't judge the ideas, I just write them down. And then later, you can take the ideas and you can organize them based on what ones you think are going to be the most helpful to reaching your goals. So yeah, just through the simple process of thinking and planning, I'm able to see a lot of things, come up with a whole bunch of ideas, think about different things, and really analyze my life. And also, every single time that I do this, there's parts of myself that I know I need to improve on, or areas where I know that I could be doing this thing, or areas where I know I could be cutting out this thing. And when I just sit down with a notebook and a pen and a piece of paper, and you just sit and think and plan a little bit, you're able to really come to understand yourself better, see yourself in a different way, and really, like I said, unlock a lot of aspects of yourself that would normally be completely unavailable to you. So yeah, thinking and planning. So let's talk about what this might look like for you. So without a plan, if you don't have a plan, and you're basically just hoping that you get where you want to go in life, then you're not going to get there. Because the only time that, like a boat at sea, for example, the only time that a boat at sea gets to the place where it's supposed to go is when it knows where it's supposed to go, and it has a direction, a purpose, a plan, a path, and then that boat can go where it needs to go. But if you don't have that, then you're just hoping that you get where you want to go, and it's not going to work. Right? You're going to run into a lot of you're basically just going to wish that you get where you want to go. And then one day you're just going to wake up and you're going to realize that you're not there. But through the process of planning, then you know where you want to go, and you can start working at going there, and you can cut out all the noise, all the distractions, anything that's in the way of your goal. And then you get there, right? So you have direction, purpose. But without that plan, then you're just hoping that you get there, and you're never going to ever get there. The odds of you getting where you want to go are pretty low, right? So you got to have that goal already in your mind before you start to go towards it, so you can really get momentum towards it. So yeah, thinking and planning, super powerful. The planning part gives you direction, right? And then also on top of this, you can also incorporate values. So while you're thinking and planning, you can also make a list of values. And by applying those values in accordance with your plan, then it gives you purpose and it puts kind of a why behind what you're doing. So those values are really going to add like substance and life to your project, right? But if you don't have those values, then it kind of lacks its substance, it lacks purpose. You can have a goal, but if you don't have like a set of values that you're going to apply in the purpose or in the achievement of that goal, then it kind of lacks substance, right? You're just kind of robotically achieving things. But when you have values, it brings color and life into what you're doing. So then you want to have values. So through the process of planning, right? If you have a plan, then you know where you're going, you have direction. And you can't really have a plan without having a goal. So above your plan is, right, your overall goal. So it goes from your goal to your plan. That gives you direction. And with that direction, you can start thinking, right? You can start thinking every single day of new ideas. And some of those ideas are going to be really good. A lot of them are going to not be like really that helpful, right? Some of them are going to be good, some of them aren't. But either way, now you have a goal, you have a plan, you have direction, and now you're thinking about ways to actually achieve that goal. So every single day or a few times a week, you sit down, like I said, with a notebook and you just start thinking. You write down a list of ideas. Like, I have a whole bunch of ideas in here. So somebody else, actually, my cousin, reached out to me the other day, and he's writing an album. He's a musician, and he had this idea for his album, and he couldn't think of a name for the album. So because I have the practice of thinking a lot, like I'll sit down with a notebook and do this multiple different times a week, I was able to think of like 20 different ideas for his album, for names. Now, whether he uses any of them, he may use some of them, one of them. He may not. He may have inspiration from what I sent him. Maybe it's completely useless. Maybe it's helpful. But realistically, there's probably at least some inspiration there and something that could have been helpful to him when you have 20 different ideas in association with what he presented to you as a concept for his album, and all of those names are directed towards what he presented to you. So it was easy for me to just sit down and think of a whole bunch of ideas for his album because I practice doing this a lot on a regular basis. And when you think of 20 ideas, 30 ideas, 50 ideas, one of them's going to be good. All it takes is one really good idea, and all of a sudden, everything about your life can change and transform. Your ability to serve others can increase in a drastic way. Maybe you're able to leverage yourself so you can serve more people in a bigger way, right? Because if the only type of service that you have to other people is in-person type service, you're kind of limited in the amount of people you can reach. But if you use something like YouTube content or YouTube videos and you start serving people that way, all of a sudden you can serve like 1 million people, right? And 1 million people's lives are influenced by what you're showing them. And so you're able to leverage yourself as a person. So that's just one example of like thinking, right? Where you're able to change your life, because life isn't fixed. A lot of times people get thinking that life is fixed because they get stuck in patterns. So they feel like life is fixed, but you're able to poke one side of life and the other side pops out and is different. You're able to cause and effect, right? We are able to influence life. We're able to influence ourselves, people around us. So through the process of thinking, you can literally transform your life, mold it, change it, And life isn't so fixed. You can become all sorts of alterations to your life, right? The way you schedule yourself, the amount of service you're able to provide to other people, the quality of your work, all of those things can change just through you deciding to change your life, to transform it. We have the ability to change things. It's not fixed. And thinking helps you do that in a big way. And planning does too, and having goals does too. This is choosing things in your life and working towards them. And to be honest with you, my favorite definition of success that I've ever heard is success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal, right? So if you have a worthy goal, or in some cases a worthy ideal, and you're working towards that goal, like every single day or on a consistent, regular basis, you're working towards that goal, you're a success. Even if you haven't reached that goal yet, you're successful through the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So yeah, you can transform your life. You don't have to reach your goal right then and there. You can actually consider yourself successful just because you have a worthy goal and you're consistently working at it, right? And a lot of times people, like there's the example of the stonemason that hits a brick 1,000 times before the brick finally cracks on the place where he was trying to get the stone to break, right? So he's chipping at this spot right here to get the stone to break at a certain point. He hits it 1,000 times, and on that final 1,000th blow, all of a sudden, it cracks, right? And so a lot of times this is the way life works. You have to build leverage and momentum and establish yourself and create a foundation for yourself. And that really comes through consistent effort towards a goal. And even if it hasn't cracked, the stone hasn't cracked yet, you're a success just because you're tapping that stone and cracking at that stone, right? That stonemason is a success from the first time he hits the stone all the way till the 1,000th hit when it finally cracks, because he's working towards a worthy goal. That's what success means. So yeah, if you have a plan, if you think a little bit, if you strategize, if you work towards your goals, it's really going to put you way ahead of the curve, because most people don't do this, right? It's been said that the problem with men in the world today is that most men just don't think. They don't use their minds. And then because of that, like water, what happens to water when it's stagnant? Water, when it's stagnant, gets full of leeches. It gets full of all sorts of uncleanliness, right? It starts to not have life in it. When the stream has flowing water, it's easier for the fish to live in there. When there's no flowing water, right? Fish can live for a while, but either way, stagnant water gets leeches, it gets dirty. The same is true for us as people. If we're not thinking, if we're not using our minds, if we're not exercising it, our minds will get slow. Our minds will get stagnant. But through the deliberate practice of thinking, of planning, of setting goals, of using your mind, your imagination, right? Thinking in creative ways, you're able to actually get that water flowing, and it keeps that stream healthy and clean. So yeah, this is why you should think and why you should plan. Hopefully you guys found today's video helpful and valuable. I love and appreciate every single one of you. And it's a Friday night, so I'm probably going to head off. Normally we do a longer one. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. And as always, peace be unto you.